Breaking Bad is the best show of all time. And with what's essentially an epilogue film coming out soon, which, Jesus Christ, it looks so good. I want to know what happened to my boy Pinkman. Like, will he die? I don't know. Will we go into that same protection program that Walter went into? I don't know. But usually when people come back to revisit old shows that's already stopped, they suck. Most of the time, the shows are crap. However, Vince Gilligan, please don't screw this up. I have faith in you. I hope you do good. Anyway, I've been rewatching the show for a second time now. I watched the show for the first time about a year ago, I believe, and I know I'm getting ready for the film, and I decided to make one video for every season. Now, I won't have all of these out by the time the film releases, so I originally planned to release one episode every week leading up to El Camino. However, college sucks. I had so much work due the past 2 weeks, and I've barely had time to make YouTube videos on this channel and my other channel. Anyway, I'll be making one video for every season leading up to El Camino. Anyway, let's talk about season 1 of Breaking Bad and color theory.
Now what?
Something I really appreciate is when directors, or in this case, showrunners, use every single aspect of a frame to tell a story. A lot of modern blockbusters rarely use color to convey emotion, which is fine, but color is always nice. Great directors will use every single thing in a frame in order to tell a story, like color, which Breaking Bad does throughout its entire run, but I'd like to focus on color theory regarding season 1. Also, a little side note, for every season I'll be doing a different topic of Breaking Bad, so for season 1, I figured I'd cover color theory since honestly, this is one of my favorite things to talk about regarding Breaking Bad. So, color theory, season 1, let's get into it. I'll try to make this sound as least as possible like a 10th grade essay, so it'll be a little bit more relaxed, a little more calm. I'm not a huge fan of this character did this and that character did this, which represents this in the film. Whenever I record videos and listen to videos, I feel like I get bored of those. So I'll be a little bit more energetic and more, I guess, normal sounding. Anyway,
I have the talking pillow.
Walter White starts out as a gray character. He's an overly talented high school chemist teacher who should be much more in life. All of his college friends are much more successful than he is, which causes jealousy and depression. Once Walt is diagnosed with lung cancer, it causes his entire life to get even worse. He is already struggling with money, providing for his pregnant wife and his son who's going to go to college soon, and an unplanned baby is on the way. So, you know what? Walt's life currently sucks. And during the beginning of season 1, the colors he wears represents this. Gray, more gray, brown, white. He is gray. Until he chooses to start cooking meth. He starts cooking meth because of greed. Well, he tells himself he does it for the family, but if you've watched the show, you know he was lying to himself in order to justify being a criminal. And once he goes down this greedy side, he begins to wear green and yellow. Green represents greed and envy, something Walter's character in season 1 can be described as completely. He is greedy and becomes a meth cook in order to provide for his family, and he envies his more successful friends. So this part of the video really focuses on Walter White. The other main characters like Jesse and Skyler also have color theory relating to them, but what Vince Gilligan does for Skyler and Jesse also relate back to Walter. I'll explain that in a little bit. Skyler White for season 1 wears blue. This color usually is meant to show purity, sadness, and loyalty, and Jesse's colors that he wears are red and yellow. Yellow represents cowardness, fear, and meth. I've seen many people say that the color yellow represents meth a lot, and I was a bit confused by this because the meth they cook is blue, so wouldn't it make sense if blue represents meth? But I did a little bit of research and found out meth can become yellow if impure ingredients are added into it, which, after knowing that, makes a lot more sense considering Jesse in season 1 is kinda a bitch! He becomes almost a new character in season 3 post-rehab, and that's when I really begin to love his character. But the idea of impureness being yellow, which affects meth, that's brilliant. And also red represents rage, and well, if you've watched season 1, Jesse has a lot of that built inside. Anyway, now we're going to get into some serious high school analysis shit, so stay with me. In this show, Walter struggles with balancing his meth life and his family life. He is constantly pulled to both sides, cooking meth with Jesse and being a father with Skyler. So here's the deep stuff. Skylar's color is blue, Jesse's color is yellow. Combined, make green, which is the color of Walt. Not only are we told this by dialogue that Walter is being torn between his life, we are shown through the use of color in visual storytelling. Now, I know some people are going to agree with this and see it, but a lot of people also think that overanalyzing things is bad and a waste of time, which of course can be at times, but when the artist himself is obsessed with something like color, it's done on purpose all the time. Vince Gilligan is obsessed with color and telling stories through color. I'll go a little bit into other seasons to further prove my point. Changing the color a character wears can be used as a visual representation of how they've changed throughout the story. For example, like earlier, Walt goes from wearing gray and just bland colors to green, and even later in the season, once Walter becomes Heisenberg, he's wearing a black hoodie. Likewise, when he does his first meth deal, a black hat, which will become an icon of Heisenberg. Later on in the show, Skylar's colors change. She goes from blue to black. She first wears black when she starts working with Ted, and wears black again when she tells Walt,
I fucked Ted.
Once Hank starts to get PTSD and almost dies by the Cartel brothers, his colors become a lot more dark, from bright orange to a darkish orange, brown, and black color. You know, things like this are overanalyzed all the time. However, I believe all this is done on purpose. With someone like Vince Gilligan, who uses every single aspect of a frame in order to tell a story, it's done on purpose. And to wrap the color theory aspect of this video up, here are some miscellaneous artsy uses of color I saw throughout season 1. Holly's room is painted pink and green. Specifically, where Walter keeps his drug money, it's colored green. Green, greed. Greed covers where Walter keeps his money. In episode 2, it looks like the main color is almost yellow. Everything important is yellow. The bag with the gun in it, yellow. In episode 1, Crazy 8's car is yellow. Crazy 8 himself is wearing yellow. Jesse, who he's in conflict with the entire episode over who should kill Crazy 8, is wearing yellow. The plate that Crazy 8 tries to kill Walter with is yellow. That much yellow in one episode, specifically with things that have to relate with Crazy 8 and Walter White, it's not an accident. Let's end this video off with a little bit of, I don't want to call it a scene analysis because I'm not really reading a scene or like telling you what each shot means, but I'm just kind of showing you certain aspects of the season that I love. This scene is a small and quiet moment that really shows Walter's character. It's beautifully shot with all natural light, the only light being from the early morning sun and a match. Walt contemplates whether or not he should look into cooking meth. He lights a match and throws it into the pool, almost like he is playing He Loves Me Not. And eventually Walter finally decides to go on a ride along. I feel like Walter has been sitting there for at least an hour just thinking of the consequences and the benefits of cooking meth and becoming a criminal. It is beautifully shot, and I'm shaking just a little bit, which the show really does a lot to make it more realistic, but this show is just beautiful. And lastly, not really much of a scene analysis here, but whenever Walter lectures to his class, he talks about something that happens in the episode. In episode 6, Walter lectures about how chemicals can make an explosion. Later in the episode,
this is not meth.
when Walter is deciding to kill Crazy 8, he mishears his student talking about murder. And the first episode, Walter talks about what Breaking Bad is. Change. How a good man can become cruel. Breaking Bad is
the study of change.